Honestly, I went to a conference today and something that they were saying is like, don't be intimidated. I know
Mm.
like it's very easy for us to get intimidated because like everyone on YouTube is saying, oh, I got a scholarship. And then when you eventually find out, you find out that, oh, they either finish with a first class or they finish with a 2-1. And then you're asking yourself, is there something for me? Obviously, there's something for you. The first thing is you need to work on your mind. I've seen some people always asking me, HND, HND. I'm like, the first problem is when you think that HND will not get you admission. When you start thinking that 2-2 will not get you admission, like you said, it is not a death sentence. Work on yourself, repackage yourself, apply to school, and then you get the admission. Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're a new subscriber, my name is Ola, and on this channel, I provide tips on how you can move from the current country that you are to your destination abroad. So please feel free to check through my other videos. I am definitely sure that you find something helpful for you and for your journey. And if you are looking to join the Bestie Squad, all you need to do is to press the subscribe button down below, and voila, you are already a bestie. In today's video, I have a friend here that I would give them the opportunity to introduce themselves later. But yeah, we have a friend, and then they'll be talking to us about their admission story. I know you all like to hear admission stories, so she'll be talking to us about our admission story. And I hope that you're able to gain one thing or the other from this story. So without any further ado, we will jump right into the video. Okay, Grace. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for, being on this live call with me. And yeah, I'll just give you a few moments to like introduce yourself. Please let us meet you, ma.
All right. Thank you for having me. My name is Grace. I'm a master's student in Georgia State University. I'm actually studying gerontology. What else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's it. What school did you finish from?
Okay, I actually finished from Obafemi Awolowo University. That was in the year 2018. Yeah.
Okay, so Paul.
Oh.
Okay, so I have a list of questions here for you that
Okay.
that you can provide like answers to so that like my audience or my subscribers can have insight into your story so that they can have insights into your experience. So the first thing is I want you to tell us a little bit about your academic background. I know you kind of already touched on it, but you said like you went to OAU, we don't know what course you studied at OAU. So like just touch a little bit about your academic background.
Okay, I actually graduated from OAU 2018 with a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics.
Mhm.
And after my bachelor's degree in 2018, I decided to further my education. I actually did a master's degree in human nutrition and dietetics at the University of Ibadan. That was 2023. And because I still needed to like further my education, I decided to like, okay, start my, I said to like study for I decided to like move to the US for a master's degree in gerontology. Yeah, so I'm currently studying a master's degree in gerontology. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So how did you learn about the fully funded scholarship opportunity?
Okay, if I can recall, this happened in 20, that was in 2023,
Okay.
in late 2023. So prior to now, I'd already started my my journey to furthering my education in the United States. So I think 2023, I wanted to like apply to schools because I actually took a break. I took like a 1 year break. So that was how I went on Google and I decided to like check courses that actually related to my undergrad to nutrition. And when I checked it, it brought out a list of courses like social work, gerontology, family development and all. But then I was actually intrigued by gerontology because that's actually the first time I would hear that word gerontology. And so I started with the school search. You know, when I started with the school search, that was how I found this my school, Georgia State University. I found the school and The rest is history. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like just to kind of like reiterate what she said she started with research because I feel like I say it's time to down number that you need to do your own research. So please, it is very important that you do your own research, particularly because studying abroad in 2025 is kind of changing. Like with the I released like a video like a few weeks ago talking about funding freeze. It's kind of changing. So sometimes you actually need to go in and find some of this information for yourself. So thank you so much, Grace, for for talking about research because I feel like I always say it on my channel. You people should research. You should not wait to be spoon-fed. You need to, if you want to study abroad, you should be willing to put in the work.
Yeah,
So, okay. The third question is what
definitely.
motivated you to apply despite having a second class lower, upper, lower,
Yeah,
despite
lower.
having a 2-2.
Okay. So, like I said, my scholarship journey, application journey started in 2019.
Oh,
So,
immediately after school.
yeah, immediately after school.
Okay.
So that was when I was hearing about GRE, you must do GRE, you must do this, you must write TOEFL and everything. But then as of 2019, I was preparing for GRE. It took me like a year to
Mm,
actually prepare for GRE. But then at some point, I just got unmotivated. So I think 2020, I applied to school, but then I only got admission just for one school. 2021 admission for just one school. And you know, I actually at some point I got devastated. Devastated in the sense that I'm like, you know what? I came out with a tutu. Maybe the school route is not for me. Maybe the scholarship route is not for me. Maybe I need to just consider another thing and all. But then I read other people's story of how they graduated with tutu, and then it sort of gingered me. And I'm like, if other people can, I can. So
mhm,
as of 2023, I took a break. I
mhm.
said I was not going to apply to school because it was looking like I was just getting admission without funding. So I think 2024, I decided to become, very strategic. I mean, it takes a whole lot, strategic in every area. Recommendation letter, your CV and everything. So at the end of the day, I would just say at the end of the day, I got a fully funded scholarship. I'll just say I just give credit to God. It can only be God. Although I did my work, but then I give credit to God. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I think I understand like the devastating part, but something honestly, I feel like even some people with someone like they keep getting admission without scholarship. So I would necessarily not, say it's like the degree or whatever. Also, I have
Mhm.
another question. I know you were talking about GRE and test of English proficiency. For your fully funded scholarship, did you have to write any exam?
For mine, no, it was not required. Yeah.
Okay, because again, you were strategic with
Mhm.
your school search and you were
Mhm.
strategic with everything. After learning from all your experiences since 2019 that you've been applying to schools and you've not been getting the results that you wanted, so you decided to switch it up. So I feel like that is something else for some of you, like whether I don't care whatever it is that you graduated from, you've been getting admission, you've not been getting scholarship, because I feel like somebody sent me a message on IG and then they were talking about the fact that, oh, like they've been applying to schools, like all the schools they've been getting admitted to, they did not get scholarship. You need to change your approach. And that was the exact thing I told them. Like, you need to change your approach. You need to probably revamp your cover letter, package yourself in a new way because you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting to see a different result. It is not possible. So thank you so much, Grace, for sharing that with us.
You're
So what
welcome.
steps did you take to make your application stand out?
Okay, I think I would say in my previous application, I think I was sort of lackadaisical. I mean, I didn't really, it was just like, let me just apply. But
Mm-hmm.
then I remember that if I'm going to apply to schools, I am actually competing with people from different countries,
Mm-hmm.
different zone. And for me to be competitive, I need to like have a strong application materials.
Mm-hmm.
So the step you were asking me about the step I took, right?
No, no, how did you make your application stand out?
Okay, how did I make my application? Okay, first of all, I discovered that for my CV, I'd been using the same CV from 2020 to 2023. So what I did was I had to like revamp my CV all over again. I mean, I started all over again. And this time, when I started all over again, I had to give it to like two or more people to check for me because in as much as you feel like, oh, I think I've tried my best, there are other people that needs to see it. I mean, like a second high, because sometimes you might just feel like you've tried your best, but then when you give it to somebody else, they might just, they'll be able to spot, okay, this shouldn't be here, this shouldn't be here. So that was what I did. And also for my recommendation letters, I had to change my recommenders
Okay.
because I think that was 2020. I found out that the recommendation letter my recommender used to use was a generic kind of recommendation, all those 4 lines. Grace is a good girl, she's this, she's that, she's this. But then I asked, like, no, this cannot happen. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm competing with other people from other countries, then my recommendation letter needs to be top notch. So I had to change my recommendation letter. Some of my friends helped, then my supervisor helped. I had to tell her, okay, this is what I want. I want a letter that is like 1 page, not just 3 pages or generic pages. So that was what I did. And I think for my school, the requirement was just CV, transcript, recommendation letter, and then yeah, assistantship essay. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So like for insight on how to, like come up with your CV or your resume, I made a video and I'm going to pop that up on the screen. Also, you can come up with your statement of purpose. I'm going to pop that up on the screen. But I know you said something that I am kind of like curious to know more about. You said that you spoke to your supervisor about like, like you want like a one-page recommendation letter. Can you tell us how that conversation went? Because I feel like with the study abroad, for me, I feel like the part that was the most stressful was the recommendation letter for me because you have to rely on other people. Like every other thing, I got it. I know the deadline. I will finish it before the time. So how then did you have that conversation? Because you know how Nigerian professors are, right? So how then, and when I say professor, I'm just talking about lecturers for people that are Nigerian. So how then did you approach this conversation of saying, oh ma, please, I would appreciate it if you can get me a one-page recommendation letter as against 4 words or like 2 sentences.
Okay, so one thing I would say is if you've not graduated from school, make sure that you still have this close, this communication with your your professor, your lecturer, because it's a situation whereby after school, you don't call them, you don't talk to them and everything. And 1 year or 2 year later, you're coming to them. It literally look like you're trying to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So for my lecturer, I think I actually see her as a big auntie. So we have this close rapport. So
Okay.
it's actually not difficult for me to like approach her and tell her, okay, I need you to write this recommendation letter for me. But she just once I messaged her, she didn't hesitate to like
Okay.
to write for me. Yeah, thank you.
So what she said is like for some of you that are still in school, build that rapport with your lecturer. Like even if it's just one lecturer, just build that rapport with them. You don't even want to hear the story of my recommendation letter because I feel like when I was in school, I didn't want to be close to any lecturer. But eventually one of them came true for me. Funniest thing, I started talking to the man in my fourth year. Like that man knew me in my fourth year. And honestly, like everywhere I go, I always shout him out because he has been very instrumental. Like he was very instrumental in like my study abroad journey. So thank you so much, sir. So um, okay. What were the specific? I know you kind of already spoke about like the documents that they required. Did you find any of the documents challenging to prepare? Like, was any of the document like kind of like challenging for you to come up with?
Uh, yeah, I think the most challenging part for me was I think my statement of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
because they gave like a prompt,
Mm-hmm.
listed a prompt, and it was like a 500-word prompt.
Mm-hmm.
You have so many things to write, and
Yeah,
having to like, you know,
it's brief.
combine those words together into 500 words was actually a lot. So it actually took lots of reframing, rephrasing, and the likes for
Mm-hmm.
me to actually come up with that 500 words that they needed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel like, yeah, that's some people also kind of like find the essay very difficult. Again, I have a video on essay and I'm going to pop it up on the screen so that you can also watch that video alongside this video and you can get insights on how to prepare your admission material as well, because I feel like that is very, very important. I know some people are like, oh, grade is important, but something I want you to know is that admission committee, they review everything holistically. So for instance, if they are saying, okay, they are going to base everything over 5, let's say your statement of purpose is 1, your grade is 1, like your resume is 1. So let's imagine that you did not even finish well. Maybe you get a 0/1 in your grade. But with every other thing, if every other thing is standing out, you still get 1, 1, 1. You get 4, for instance, probably you got 4/5. Of course, they will still give you admission. So I know like the major thing that people mostly say in Nigeria is like, oh, grade is the most important thing. Grade is the most important thing. Why grade is important? It is not the most important thing because your admission or your material is being reviewed holistically. It's not just about the grade. Okay, so let's move on. How did you approach writing your personal essay? And I like this part because it just kind of spoke about personal essay and how they gave you prompts of like 500 words. And I know like this is the part that most people actually find confusing because you don't even know where to start from. So how did you approach it? Can you kind of like share with us like few insights into how you approach writing your personal essay?
Okay, if I can remember vividly, to start writing your personal the statement of purpose is personal statement, it's similar. I
Mhm.
think one thing I would say is what exactly, one thing I would just say is your motivation for actually studying
Mhm.
that your motivation for actually going to graduate school. So, though I think the first question was, what motivated you to study this course? So that was what I started with. So I started with the motivation, then I combined it with my future goals. I combined it with my future goals. I combined it with my short term, my long term, my career goals. Then I also talked about my research experience, which is actually quite important for my field. I talked about my teaching experience. I also talked about my volunteering experience. And I also talked about why I should be selected among other people. So basically, those were the questions, the motivation, the experiences, the research experiences, volunteering experiences, teaching experiences, and why you should be selected for the course. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Something I also tell people is like, if you don't know where to start, I feel like the most important thing is just to start. You don't know where to start, but the most important thing is to start. So, how I
Mhm.
usually advise people is like, when you're writing, don't bother about the structure for now. Write
Yeah.
everything that comes to your mind. Let's take, for instance, they give you those prompts. You can even write it in like number form. That's not how you will submit to, but that's
Right.
how you want to start it. Okay, number one, this is the answer to number one question. This is the answer to number two question. And then when you start reading it, then you start thinking about the structure. Like I tell people, when I was writing my statement of purpose, I literally, like I was rewriting, I'll read it, I'll be like, oh, this part doesn't make sense. This part needs something that will help it transition into the next part. So you cannot, you should not expect to get your perfect statement in one sitting with one
Right.
writing. Because I feel like that is what scares people. They want to get the perfect thing with just
Mm.
one day that they want to start writing. No, just start. That is the most important thing. The most important thing is that you are starting and then you worry about the structure later. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for
You
that.
can't, yeah, to actually add to it, you can't say you want to write your statement of purpose in one day. It
Mm-hmm.
can take weeks. It can even take months
Mm-hmm.
because the more ideas you have, the
Mm-hmm.
more you keep writing. And with that, by the time you write, by the time you're compiling your ideas together, then everything just makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. And then some people are like, oh, like, oh, you don't have a story to tell. When you start writing, trust me, you remember a story. That's just it. When you start
Mhm.
writing, you start remembering the story. So yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so did you seek like external help, like probably like a mentor during your admission process or like somebody that could guide you during your admission process?
I've always had a mentor since 2020.
Okay.
Um, there was actually this group I joined where it was actually a group of people that wanted to actually study abroad.
Okay.
So one thing I would say is in this journey, you actually need people that would lead you.
Mm-hmm.
It actually makes the journey very smooth for you because the mistake they probably have made,
Yeah.
you would not make that kind of mistake. So I had a mentor, I had mentors that guided me during my admission process, even during my visa process and like that. Yeah. So
Okay.
you need somebody to lead you. You can't do it alone. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. I mean, we always need people, and also you spoke about a group. I feel like also even like the group kind of like reading other people's admission story will also motivate you to be like, okay, me too, I can do this thing. So yeah, okay. So how would you say your scholarship has impacted your life, both academically and personally?
Uh, Let me start. Personally, I just feel if you want to actually apply to study abroad, I would just advise that you get a scholarship, like an assistantship. It just makes life easier for you. Because I've seen cases where, people who didn't get scholarship and it's actually here in the US, it's actually not easy. People think, oh, because you're in the US, you're probably plucking money from the tree. It is easy and all. But then, as an international student, you're only allowed to work 20 hours. So how do you want to work 20 hours and also pay for your school fee? So personally, it's actually been an ease for me. You know, I don't have to think about working because I know that okay, I need to just concentrate on my academic. Then academically, well, I'm actually the only Nigerian in my class at the moment,
Mhm.
and it sort of feel like I don't it sort of feel like
Strange.
yeah, strange because I feel like I had a 2-2. I'm very sure there are also people that had 2-1 and 2-1 upper class, 2-1 first class and all. So it kind of feels strange that I am actually the only one, only Nigerian in my class. And but then the other Africans in my class. So yeah, so far academically it's been helpful. My supervisors have been helpful, and my classmates have been helpful as well. So,
Okay. That's good. Thank you so much. The next question. What differences have you noticed between the education system in Nigeria and in the US?
hmm.
The way you said is like, this girl has a lot to say.
Well, man, there's one thing I would just say is there's a huge gap.
Hmm.
Huge gap. For example, um, I think the first time I came to class, I was still trying to like find my way and everything. And I think I came late to class. On a normal day in Nigeria, when you come late to class, just know that you might not even enter the lecturer's class because
One lecturer is there, lie for
once
me.
the lecturer is there, he's actually not going to allow you enter. But this very day, I went to class, and the next thing you were telling me, welcome. I said, welcome. As I came late, and you're still telling me, welcome. So I think that was one cultural shock I experienced. Another one is, I think assignment-wise, if a lecturer probably you did an assignment and you're actually not satisfied with the assignment, you could send a mail to the lecturer and tell the lecturer, you know what, I would like to resubmit. Can I resubmit and everything? And the next thing they will give you the go ahead. But in Nigeria, once you submit your assignment, that is final. And one thing again is if you don't understand things in class, they can always go over and over and over and over again. Even after class, you could even still go to their office. They have office hours. Go to their office, tell them you don't understand. They will still they will reiterate everything they need to iterate. So there's actually a huge gap in the education system in Nigeria and the education system here in the US. And one thing I was going to say is when I was in Nigeria, I used to have this phobia of, oh, I can't face the crowd. Maybe there's a presentation in class and you're scared. But then here in the US, they give you this there's this confidence you feel because nobody is one thing is your opinion in class is not useless.
Hmm.
It is not useless. It is still meaningful. When in class, when they ask questions, they want to hear what you have to say. Nothing is stupid in their ears. So I feel like so far, even for presentation, I am always so confident to talk because I'm not scared. That confidence is there. Nobody is bullying you. Nobody is telling you shut up. You're saying rubbish. Even the rubbish that you have to say it. They will still accept it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of difference. Like for me, I feel like the first thing, because when I got like my calendar and I was like, wait, we'll be in class for 3 hours. What are we doing? 3 hours, okay. The first time I came to class, people were just leaving the class because they want to use the restroom. And
Mhm.
me, like, I feel like even up till now, I feel like I still kind of do that thing when I want to talk. Even in my meetings, when I want to talk, I raise my hand. And like, I remember when I was in grad school, then like one of our professors was like, "Oh, you can just talk freely." But I feel like that is kind of like instilled in me that I will raise my hand. Like, even if I want to go to the restroom, I would ask for permission. But she keeps saying like, "Oh, if you need to go to the restroom, just step out of the class. You don't need to ask for permission." But I would always ask for permission. I'll be like, "Oh, excuse me, I need to use the restroom," and all. I also feel like something else that was strange for me was like eating in class. Like people would eat in class. Like the class is 3 hours. What do you mean? People will eat in class, even though they always give us break. I think like after like an hour, 30 minutes, they give you a break to kind of like stretch and whatever. But I just feel like there's just a whole lot of confidence that the school system here instills in you. Like
Exactly.
literally now, I don't care who you are, I can face you because there's just this confidence that it gives you. And also, I feel like the goal of the US as against Nigeria is like actual learning. And that's why you can always go back to your professor to say, "Oh, I want to redo the assignment." Even sometimes a professor will tell you that they want you to redo the assignment. I've stated like my first assignment in grad school. That woman literally turned it back and said, "I need you to redo this assignment." So,
Mhm.
yes, the preference is learning for you to actually learn and take
Right.
something out of that class. So, what advice would you give to someone with a tutu who feels discouraged about applying for scholarship?
So my advice would be that, first of all, tutu is not a death sentence.
Yes, so please loud it. Raise them, raise them, raise them, raise them.
Tutu is not a death
Raise
sentence.
them.
Now, tutu you get, you know, keep pursuing.
Yes, so.
One thing I want you to have is establish in your mind that tutu is not a death sentence. Once you have that in mind, the next thing will be, okay, fine, you have a tutu. How do I make my application competitive?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're competing with people, like I said, you're competing with people from all over the country. You're competing with people that have higher grades than you. How do I make this competitive? And to actually make your application materials competitive, for some courses, there are some exams that you need to write.
Mm.
Please, if you can write those exams, kindly write them because it actually boosts your application.
Yes.
Because imagine a situation whereby you have a tutu, you didn't write these exams, and there are people that have 2-1 first class upper, they wrote this exam. There's already a difference in your application
Mm.
and the application. So for you to be competitive, if you have the opportunity to write these external exams, I'm talking about the GRE, the TOEFL, even when they say it's not compulsory,
Mm-hmm.
please go ahead and write it. And also, for those in the science, if they can, if you can publish your work, I mean your thesis, your undergraduate thesis, if you can publish it, or if you can collaborate with other researchers, please go ahead and do that. It will actually boost your score. Then volunteering. I also feel like here in America, they take volunteering very serious. It's something that they also want to see in your CV and everything. If you can volunteer, please go ahead and volunteer. Teaching experience, those are things they look out for. Then your CV, the CV has to be top notch.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to somebody. After you've written your CV, try to look for somebody that can also check. I mean, somebody that might have gone through this journey that might have gone through this journey to actually check. Then also recommendation letter. Make sure that your recommendation letter is very strong. I mean, very strong. Don't just make sure you meet somebody that knows you very well and that can write for you very well. There are some people that just know you on a surface level. Those kind of people might not write anything for you, but make sure that this person that is writing your recommendation letter knows you very well and they can write very well. And like I said, it is not I understand the fact that it's always about when they probably write recommendation letter, you probably feel it has to be a professor, it has to be this. There are sometimes that it does not necessarily have to be a professor. Sometimes it is the content that matter, not the title of the person writing the recommendation. So if you feel like you can't actually find professors that will write for you. If you know other people, probably a lecturer one, a lecturer two, that you know that can write, if it's possible for them to write even 3 pages of recommendation letter for you, please go ahead and use them. Then statement of purpose, there are prompts on the statement of purpose. Make sure that you follow the prompt and don't just do things anyhow. There are prompts. And if probably you do not see prompts, there are also samples of, personal statements, samples of statement purpose that you can go through. And like Ola said, you can go through our page. She has probably talked about statement of purpose, go through our page, and once you do all these things, back everything with prayer, because prayer is very necessary. You can do everything at the end of the day, it still wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
But back everything with prayer, and with prayer, I believe that there is nothing God cannot do. Yeah.
All right. I kind of like want to like state something more to like what you said about like writing the GRE and like whatever external exam. And I was going to say that, so why I tell people to write GRE if like a school is recommending them. However, like there are 3 types of like recommendation that a school can tell you about GRE. Sometimes they say GRE is not required. Sometimes they say GRE is optional, and or either GRE is not required, GRE is waived, GRE is optional, or it is required. So if they say it is not required, please, I'm begging you, don't write it, because they are not going, some schools even put it like, oh, it's not required, we are not going to, even if you submit it, we are not going to use it as part of like the admission process. So like no matter what, don't write it, because particularly if all the schools are saying is not required, because at the end of the day, they are not going to look at it as part of your admission material. So just use that time to focus more on your other application material. But if like a school is saying it is optional and you have a chance to actually write it, then I would say write it, because again, you finish with a 2-2 and you need a more reason to boost your score. And every other thing that Grace said, volunteering, that volunteering is very key. They need to see your involvement on campus as well. So if you're a student, don't just make your time in Nigeria or whatever country you are all about your academics. I feel like that was the mistake I made when I was in school. I made everything about my academics. Make sure you're also volunteering in school. They want to see on-campus involvement. Make sure you are volunteering in school. So that is how they sum up the whole resume, your work experience, your involvement aside from your work experience as well. So this is the final question. Are there specific resources or platform that you would recommend for finding scholarship opportunities?
For me, like I said initially, it is better for you to do like an extensive research. That is why there is Google. So what I did was, in order to make my my research go very smoothly, what I do is I just go on Google and just type schools in the US that offer this particular course and that also have assistantship. So once you do that, so what I do is, for example, I said schools in the US that offer gerontology or that have gerontology assistantship or whatever. So once you do that, it's actually going to list out schools. So it is actually very easy for you, because it just brings out that page of the graduate assistantship, and you can be able to check the resources. One thing I would just say is there are also groups on Twitter, on social media. There's the Japa community, there's the study community, even on Instagram and everything. There are different ones on WhatsApp and everything. So if you can join those groups, it will actually help. You also meet people that are also walking through that journey, and you guys can, at the end of the day, hold each other hands, hold each other accountable. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. I feel like I'm going to end with this. Honestly, you can watch all of this video and still not take any action. So I would say that the number one thing is for you to take a step. Like watching all of this video can motivate you, but if you are not taking a step instantly, you might lose those motivations. So start from somewhere, start from researching. Like she said, Google is your friend. Everybody has access to Google right now. Google is your friend. Now, there's even something much more that gives you like direct answer, which is ChatGPT, which I'm going to do a video on how you can use ChatGPT to search for school, how you can use ChatGPT to conduct your school search. But irrespective, before or after the video, Google is always your friend. Google can find you all the answers to your question. So make sure that you are starting, make sure that you are not just on my channel. Some of you spent like 5 years on my channel. You've never actually applied to schools. 5 years. Okay, maybe that's exaggerated because my channel is not even up to 5 years. But what I'm saying is some of you started this channel with me. You watch my every video, but you've actually never applied to school. You need to start. Nobody is going to push you except you push yourself. That's all I'm going to say. So thank you so much, Grace. If you watched the video to this point, I want you to put it in the comment section and say thank you so much, Grace. Also, please feel free to put your question in the comments. If there's anyone I can answer, I would answer it. If there are some that I cannot answer, I'm definitely going to ask her. And then once she provides answer, I'm going to respond to your question. So thank you so much for watching today's video.